Ladies and gentlemen, some really interesting news. You had the Sussman acquittal. Well, now you have a mistrial declared in the We Build the Wall case against Steve Bannon and associate, days after holdout juror alleges a government plot and extreme bias. This is the Daily News. A Manhattan judge declared a mistrial Tuesday in the case against Steve Bannon, associate accused of siphoning donations from a charity after a jury said it couldn't overcome ideological differences. The mistrial comes after the jury deliberated for more than 30 hours whether Colorado businessman Timothy Shea was guilty of stealing contributions from the $25 million raised by ex-President Donald Trump's supporters. The charity aimed to privately finance a portion of the wall. One of Trump's signature policies. On Thursday, the jury wrote to the judge to say a holdout, an individual described the case as a government witch hunt, end quote. They wrote that his beliefs were preventing them from reaching a verdict. The juror, according to notes, has accused its fellow panelists of being biased New York liberals. So this man is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And it's true. I mean, you can't, if you are on a jury, you're supposed to put your political viewpoints aside. And you're not supposed to see the world from a wonderful from the vantage point of everything on this planet that's wrong is Trump's fault, and everything pure and wholesome and good is linked to the Democratic Party. You're not supposed to think that way if you're on a jury. That's why I would never in a million years want to be on a jury. But very interesting. This was supposed to link to Trump again. They couldn't indict Trump yet again for this issue because Bannon was supposed to somehow be in cahoots with Trump, and they just couldn't get anything as usual. They just accuse all the time. They find nothing. The juror asserted that, okay, so let's see. So basically, it's a mistrial. The only defendant to go in the trial in the We Build case was charged with wire fraud and money laundering in August 2020, along with Bannon and 4 others. Prosecutors say he operated a shell company that funneled $20,000 a month from the fund. Okay, so it ended in a mistrial. One of the jurors, and so this is the antithesis of what you saw with the Sussman case, one of the jurors basically said they're going after Trump because of ideological reasons, or they're going after anyone else, anyone associated with Trump, Steve Bannon included, obviously. Then you have, very interesting, Steve Bannon subpoenas Pelosi and the House committee members. So he wants their testimony. This is really interesting. Bannon demands testimony from members of the House facing trial next month. Bannon attacks committee's makeup. So that's true because you have 2 never Trump Republicans who despise Trump, and Kinzinger and Cheney. There's not one supporter of President Trump in that committee, and they haven't indicted him for anything, which is interesting because for the past 4 years they've said that he was guilty of everything that's ever happened in the known universe, yet they still haven't indicted him. And I did a segment on that this morning. I'll do a segment on that every single day, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, get those segments going. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. We are now officially going into a recession. The Atlanta Fed revised second quarter GDP growth numbers to barely above zero, like a 0.6% growth, something like that. We'll talk about that on the Stock Market Crash channel. And also, Janet Yellen says, oh, by the way, inflation is here to stay, and it might get worse. So hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That's below in the pinned comment and the description. And hit subscribe to the Bitcoin Crash to 10,000 or lower channel. Everything, unfortunately, is going to tank, especially the crypto world, Coinbase, Tether. I don't want these things to go to zero or go bankrupt, but unfortunately they will. And I explained that in the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel in the description section, and also within the pinned comment and within the stock market crash channel. If you want to support my work, my Patreon is below. And if you want to become a member, please go ahead. Give a super thanks to this channel. It'd be greatly to this segment. It'd be greatly appreciated. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you. This is a Bloomberg article. So that was a New York Daily News article. Bloomberg, Steve Bannon's lawyers are seeking to question under oath Speaker Nancy Pelosi and every member of the House committee. That would be interesting. That would be amazing. Bannon was indicted in November by a federal grand jury on 2 counts of contempt of Congress for his refusal to comply. Interestingly enough, the Clinton email probe had numerous people refusing to comply when Jason Chaffetz had a parallel investigation in the House of Representatives years back. Nobody was held in contempt. But they failed also to get Dan Scavino and Mark Meadows. So they're withholding information. But again, there's not that much to withhold. Trump didn't commit a crime. He didn't commit a crime. If he did commit a crime, they would have indicted him 20 times already. So they can't find anything. It's now all public relations. The midterms are coming up. It's going to be a catastrophe for Democrats. So the House and the Senate are going to go Trump Republican, red all the way, and they have nothing. Inflation is up. We're heading into a recession. Oil prices are at $120 per barrel now. Diesel and gas prices have doubled under mashed potato brains Biden. So now you have this. Bloomberg, in a lead up to the trial, Bannon's lawyers question whether Pelosi and Democrats followed the House's own rules in the formation and makeup of a bipartisan committee. It wasn't bipartisan. A resolution that created the committee states it shall have 13 members, but the panel has only 9, 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans, all of whom were selected by Pelosi. And the caveat or what they did wrong was Kinzinger and Cheney are known adversaries of Trump. So they don't really have anything bipartisan. It's all just a political stunt by people who don't want Trump to ever run again. The thing is, you might not like his personality, but you can't do this. You can't. This is the antithesis of democracy. Just because you don't like someone's personality doesn't mean you can go ahead and accuse them of being installed by the Kremlin and use the United States government against them and against everyone around them. So they found nothing in the Mueller probe. They found nothing going after Bannon with this mistrial. And the difference between this mistrial and the acquittal of Sussman is that Sussman actually did lie. Okay, I don't know the specifics of this trial. There is a mistrial because you have one or more members of the jury saying, hey, this is all political. You can't just go after a person simply because he's associated with Trump. So that could be one of the reasons that there was a mistrial declared. So I don't know the specifics of this trial in particular, but the Michael Sussman Durham probe special counsel, people say, oh, well, nothing's ever going to happen. It's like, well, the information that was derived from that, from the testimony by Robbie Mook and Mark Elias is infinitely more important than a month or 2 months in jail for Michael Sussman, who nobody knew prior to the indictment and the trial going to court. So this is actually a really interesting. This is really, really, really interesting. They tried desperately to go after Bannon, and now he could very well be able to demand documents and testimony from Pelosi, Liz Cheney, and others. This will be very interesting. Because I would find it very difficult for anybody to say that this was a truly bipartisan committee. There are no supporters of President Trump on there. A bipartisan committee would require at least one person who voted for Trump. Not one person voted for Trump, so what's the point of having 2 Republicans there? Cheney and Kinzinger didn't vote for Trump 2 years ago. Okay, I believe they might have even voted for Biden. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel and also the Bitcoin Crash channel. And even if they did vote for Trump, they're known adversaries, so you're not really getting any bipartisanship here. It's just pure public relations. That's all it is. hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. Go to the Stock Market Crash channel right now and the Bitcoin Crash channel right now. Thank you.